And good morning, everybody. Joining us here is Noel Aiken of Petite Garden Center. We're talking about something we normally don't talk about. It's perennials. Now, real quick here, what's the difference between a perennial and an annual? I always mess this up. What's the difference before we kind of get into it?
Absolutely. Perennials are the flowering plants that come back in your garden for 3 years or more.
That's a good start, very good start. So that would explain why some of the flowers I've planted, some of the ones who were the opposite, didn't last very long. So this is kind of perennial gardening month. We're heading into June. You know, the flowers are popping, tree pollen. Hopefully the tree pollen season is behind us. Explain to us some of the beginnings of perennial gardening and, you know, just the beginnings of it, those of us who have never done it before.
Absolutely. Well, June, there's so much color in the perennial garden, as you can see behind me and next to me as June pans along. I will have to tell you, as far as perennials are concerned, they are one of those plants that really increases diversity in the garden. They're adaptable, they naturalize, they attract, and that's a key feature, not only humans, but also pollinators, obviously, and that's necessary for our environment. You can grow perennials for all different types of situations, hard to grow situations that annuals just can't adapt to. So also when you get perennials established, they are overall lower maintenance. So after that first year of kind of, watering and fertilizing, they get their roots in the ground and they really start to take off, and just they're easy after that point. So they really are a great plant to have. And obviously a lot of different colors, textures, sizes, everything that you can find under the sun. Sure.
Now, have perennials changed a lot? I know, sometimes we talk about, plants that like my grandmother had back in the day, and it seems like they, some of them could kind of overtake an area, and then some plants have been, I don't want to say engineered, but they've been bred differently so they behave differently. Are perennials that way now versus how they were 20, 25 years ago or longer?
Yes and no. I mean, we still have peonies out there that are just beautiful, long-lived plants that have lasted for 50 years or more, and they're still some of the most popular varieties. But then you do have other plant materials that have been bred or cross-pollinated, and they have been bred for bigger flowers or different colors. Coneflower is one of those examples where you think about, it used to just be all purple coneflowers, and now you see coneflowers of all different colors: whites, yellows, oranges, reds. Some are double flowering. So you do see a lot of difference. And you're right, some breeders have become very fancy, and they really selected for some very good growing traits out there. So they're a little bit easier for us to grow in the garden.
So what about plant food with these? Is it garden tone, osmocote? I know AJ always talks about using those for a lot of other different applications. Does that work for perennials as well?
Absolutely. You can use garden tone, but we prefer to use plant tone. And typically we're fertilizing perennials in the spring and then midsummer, and then you're done when you use plant tone. So it's really easy. Like I said, very low maintenance. Many of these plants don't need a lot of fertilizer like annuals do to keep going. They just need just a regular amount, just a maintenance amount to keep them flowering and blooming. I'd say probably one of the things that you do want to keep in mind is deadheading your perennials, because as long as you keep on removing the dead flowers, they'll continue to push new growth and continue to flower for you. So that's something to keep in mind with perennials. But other than that, they really will just keep on going through the season. Yeah, the deadheading is something that I know my wife loves to do, and we were a little more aggressive with that last summer, and it works. It seems like you're killing the plant, but you're really not. It actually comes up even more vibrant than ever. Yeah. Noel Aiken, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. And you have a great week, okay? Thank you, you too.